Thank you so much for joining me today. We're doing a really timely topic today. This is really good. We're talking about the Social Security Fairness Act. The Social Security Fairness Act. I better be careful. I forgot I had that. I'm glad to know on the website it pops right up. I'm glad that it starts right on time. We got to see that. Yes, indeed. On the website, afroeconomics.com, if you click into Afroeconomics Live, that's a good shortcut. A good shortcut to check everything out right there. And anytime, if you get the app, which is absolutely free, the Afroeconomics app, the app is complimentary, and it will, another way to easily access. How are you doing, Mr. Jefferson? Easily access when we go live. And don't forget, we miss you, Mr. Jefferson, at our the Friday meetings. I know you've been probably over there enjoying these holiday Fridays, but it's time. It's time. It's time to check on us. And every Friday, I have the members only meetings so that whatever I talk about, and that's what this topic came up last week when we were talking about asset allocation. One of the members, Ms. Walton, said, "Hey, we need to talk about that Social Security Fairness Act." And I said, "You know what? That is so true." And so I definitely appreciate your feedback. And if you see in the chat, I put in, how you doing, Vicky D? I put in the link. So if you want to come in and ask a question specifically, please do so. Click that link. It says specific questions on live into the studio here. Click there. It's only applicable to this event though. So it will be recorded there, but we're going live now. But if y'all want to come in and ask me a question or chat it in, but I want us to just become more and more comfortable with this topic because there's going to be quite a few of you who this Social Security Fairness Act is designed to protect because one of the well, not one of the biggest employer of black people, of black workers, is public entities, the federal government or the state government or a city government. um, yes, we are more likely to work for a municipality or the government in a government entity than to be in corporate America. Isn't that something? So this really impacts people that have given their career to public entities. And since I've been doing this a long time, this particular issue has always caught me as odd that people who put into Social Security at some point in their life and then decided to go work for the government and then maybe leave the government, but retire from the government and then go back to corporate America, but their Social Security, is compromised. So this is an attempt to create fairness there. And if this applies to you, then it applies to you. For example, we have a member that's in a state and is a teacher in a state. There's 14 states that actually the teachers pension and teacher in the public schools do not contribute to Social Security. So when they're putting the money, and you're why the time that you're working there, even if you work at a private school and you work at a private school for some years and then you go to the public school, well, the private school might put into Social Security, but the school system there where you might be has decided that we don't put into Social Security. So they're a non-participant in Social Security. So it means that the school system has decided that they're not going to put away 7.5% for you, because when you're in corporate America or a private entity, or in the government that does participate, like people at the federal government now that are under the FERS program, this new change doesn't apply to you because you're putting money into Social Security and you have the pension program. But prior to that, the CSRS people, this does get complicated for them. And I think, and I've often said this, that the older that you get, the more valuable Afroeconomics membership is, because it's important to me to help my clients in every aspect of their life. There's a lot of registered investment advisors that will send you this information out, tell you, call the Social Security office. That's it. Bye bye. But it's, I, on the other hand, really believe that a full service financial advisor, that it's part of my responsibility to you, that if I think that this is impacting you, then we need to look farther into it. And so that's why I'm covering it, and it's at its weakest point right now, because all I can ask you to do at this point is, no matter if you think you qualify or not, especially for people who don't think they qualify, I need you to go into ssa.gov and sign up and set up an account. Because there are people who, because of where you worked, you were told that you don't qualify for Social Security benefits because they didn't participate. And then now this change has happened. And if they don't have you in the system as someone that's trying to get benefits, they can't find you. They're not going to come looking for you. So I say, go and look for the benefits. Go and sign up at ssa.gov. Go and just make sure. I want everybody to just at least, make sure that they go to ssa.gov at this point, because their message to us is, we don't know where we're going from this. And I'm going to tell you exactly their words. The Social Security Fairness Act, concerning the windfall elimination provision and government pension offset, was signed into law on January 5th, 2025. It eliminates the reduction of Social Security benefits while entitled to public pensions from work not covered by Social Security. So that kind of is their way of saying what I just said. You work somewhere that said that we're not participating in Social Security. So the Social Security Administration is saying, we are evaluating how to implement this act. We will provide more information as soon as possible. That's their note to you and me. We are evaluating how to make this happen. Yeah, the president can sign off, Congress can say they want it. Yes, this should happen. Oh, it's not fair. Why'd y'all do it to these people? But my thought, and I just kind of go off a little bit. But think about how many people have died. And they're only going back 1 year. 1 year. They'll catch you up for last year. So if it applies to you, they'll catch you up for last year, and you got to make sure you live healthy. That's why Black health, Black wealth is important. Because we got to live as long as we can so that you can get that money. Because even if you've been retired and they haven't been paying you correctly for 10, 20 years, I'm glad you lived to see this. But we got to be healthy so that you can get your money. Grand Rising right back to you. Drop in. How you doing, Mr. Jenkins? I think it benefits us to use, the use names so that we know. I don't know, but the do drop in, that's something to think about. The use names that so that you can know people can know how to communicate with you. So, but we'll call you, and I'm not judging you. We'll call you do drop in, but the I um do appreciate that it's important for us to do the SSA.gov, even though the Social Security Administration is saying that they're overwhelmed. Don't call us. We don't know what's going on. We don't know how to implement this. We don't know if you qualify for even spousal benefits. Like, say you have a spouse that passed away and they had that job that didn't put money into Social Security. So you remember when they retired, they were complaining about, why can't I get my Social Security? Or why my Social Security check so small? This and that. Like, so it's estimated that it's going to be over $300. So when they catch up for the $300 per person, but the spousal benefit part could be much bigger. So the bottom line is, this is how you protect yourself. This is how you make sure that if the Social Security Fairness Act applies to you, is make sure that you have access to your account. So if you go to ssa.gov/my account, make sure you have the account set up. So many things. A member was telling me the other day that he was a public worker and they did not pay off his student loan until he went online and set up the account and put his information in there. And I argue that going forward, no matter how old you are, we're going to have a certain amount of confidence about using these websites, and Afroeconomics can really help you with that, because I love helping us with that. I've had several people who I've said, like, get your computer and we're going to work from there. Like, a computer is like a telephone now. You could live without like a telephone used to be. We could get rid of the house phone, but you can't be without a good computer. And I would argue, not even just a tablet. I need you to have a real laptop or PC. And you don't have to have a laptop. It's cheaper to, if you're not going around like I am, having to have meetings at all these different locations, why do you have to pay for something that's mobile? If you go to your beach house, you could take your PC. Like what I'm on right now is $600, like maybe $650, all in one computer. Perfect. The other one I paid like, I think, $1,200 for. I was all excited because I saw this for $600. I was like, yeah, prices are going down. And then when I got there, I started touching the screen, and it wasn't a touch screen. But you might not be used to touch screen, especially if like a lot of people aren't. I'm addicted to touch screen. So I like it took me back, but I've gotten used to it. I just leave it right here in the studio. I think I have about 6 computers in my life. I prefer the ones that stay, but I have to have mobility, so you get the laptop. So if you want to come to have meetings with me and you want to have the laptop and you take it, but you just need to have something, $500, $600, that gives you access to the internet. We have to have that, so that when you're going into your Social Security Administration website, we can look at the information that they have. No, we have to know. The interesting part is that, did you work somewhere? Were you a fighter? Were you a police officer? Were you a school teacher? In a system that said we don't participate with Social Security. And do you, you know, do you remember that? Do you remember them saying, "Oh, well, you're not, you know, your Social Security, you're not going to get it because of this, this, and that, or it's your payment is smaller because of this, this." And if you remember those type of conversations, this act is to correct that. In the 1980s, they came out with that windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. And those things actually passed Congress when they hurt people that worked for public entities. I want to give you this before we go, because most importantly, I want you, if you think that this affects you, go to ssa.gov. Why would I think that it affects me? Because you worked somewhere that did not participate in the Social Security program. Again, the Social Security Fairness Act, I'm going to repeat because it's like not the easiest thing to really comprehend, eliminates two long-standing provisions for Social Security. The Social Security Fairness Act that was just signed by the president. That act eliminates two long-standing provisions. It eliminates the windfall elimination, and they call it WEP. So if you see that somewhere, and the government pension offset, they call it the GPO. These rules previously reduced Social Security benefits for retirees who receive pension income from non-covered employment. That's what they call it. Non-covered, meaning not Social Security covered. Work not covered by Social Security. This legislation is projected to result in an average monthly increase of $360 for eligible public sector workers. An average increase of 360 means some will be less, some will be lower, as well as their spouses and survivors. Additionally, it includes lump sum payments for over 2.5 million individuals to compensate for benefits missed in prior years, which can amount to several $1,000s per recipient to get back when you get the lump sum. Over 2.5 million people are owed this money. Qualified workers include police, firefighters, postal workers. I don't know about you, Mr. Jenkins. I ain't gonna give you nothing. Postal workers, public school teachers, and other government employees. Those who qualify need not apply for these increases. It will happen automatically. The Social Security Administration is still reviewing how to implement this, as I was saying at the beginning. There is no time frame for these increases at the time that you hear this, at this moment. But people on Social Security just got a 2.5% cost of living adjustment. Y'all will have all the money. So let's make sure if you find out, hey, JB, I got some more money. Let's, make sure that we include that into your retirement budget. How you doing, Ms. Shavers? Good afternoon, right back at you. But I wanted to make sure that we discuss the Social Security Fairness Act, and I will promise to continue to update you. Look at that. It is. It did start. It did start in 24. It did start in 24, but I don't like looking at that. I want it to say 25. Thank you, God, for putting that in my attention, because I would look at it like, oh my goodness, why did I have 25? 24. But they did start working on it in 24. But I like to think of it as 2025 because it was just signed. It just started. Hopefully you'll get your money in this year, those of you who will apply. If you don't have the slightest understanding of what I'm talking about, but you somehow think that this applies to you and your family, or your beneficiaries, or you're the beneficiary, your deceased spouse, or, then please sign up for Afro Economics and consider allowing me to help you as your financial advisor with your Social Security and your retirement and your investment goals. Yeah, and I'm sorry. Let me make sure. And then I wanted to make sure I looked at before I go. Like, any if y'all had any specific, if you have any questions after seeing this again, email me at jb@jbbryan.com. Don't hesitate to email. Don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to come by one of the offices, Virginia, DC, New York. Call 1-844-522-7926. I am JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of Afro Economics. And I'm committed to making sure that we have empowerment discussions, that I keep bringing the knowledge, that I keep empowering us. Your financial empowerment is my number one goal. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. Thank you, Ms. Deloach. I'm so glad that we're safe. Y'all, I survived an earthquake yesterday. Yes, I did. Oh, thank you. Enjoy your day as well, Mr. Drop-In. Indeed. Y'all have a wonderful one. But yeah, so don't take anything for granted. Tell everyone that you love them, that you love, and forgive everyone for anyone that you might be mad at. Because I tell you, I was driving down the street this morning and I said, hey, that could have been it. That could have been it. And I ain't mad at nobody. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share these points. I hope they help. And I'm just a call away. God bless you. Bye bye.